Who'll be the next person to fill one of these seats on Colorado's Supreme Court? That's being decided right now. The process to select that person? It leaves a lot to be desired, according to a Colorado nonprofit.
There's no transparency in our nomination or appointment process. The rules for the Supreme Court Nominating Commission require darkness. It's impossible to judge whether the three best candidates were chosen by the Commission when we don't know who else applied. And one would think the Commission could benefit from public comment regarding the candidates before determining what three to nominate.
Not all of Colorado's judicial nominating commissions have the same rules. The 6th Judicial District does hold a public hearing regarding potential nominees before selecting the final three. But the rules for the Supreme Court Nominating Commission state that the business of the commission is confidential or private, except for the final three names the commission provides to the governor. Those names are Marcy Glenn, an appellate lawyer whose clients include oil and gas companies. She works at Holland & Hart, a Denver law firm. Governor Hickenlooper appointed her to the governor's Board of Ethics earlier this year. Melissa Hart, a CU law professor who practiced law for approximately 3 years. She also clerked for judges. Most of her career has been in academia. She recently wrote an op-ed piece for the Washington Post accusing the GOP of ruining the U.S. Supreme Court's nominating process. And Patty Swift, a longtime judge who never practiced law. In Colorado's rural, unpopulated counties, only a high school degree is required to be a county court judge. She became a county court judge in Costilla County before she was licensed to practice law, and has been a judge ever since, moving to the 12th Judicial District Court in 2003. She's also a water judge in Division 3. Governor Hickenlooper has been involved in selecting every member of the Supreme Court Nominating Commission, so he might not be surprised to see these names. He's certainly seen Hart's name before because she was nominated for the last spot on our state Supreme Court. He appointed Richard Gabriel to fill that seat.
Had the public been able to see and understand what our most recent Supreme Court justice has done, I don't think he would have been appointed. Richard Gabriel was on the Court of Appeals before he was appointed to the Supreme Court. In one of my cases at the Court of Appeals, he intentionally failed to follow controlling legal precedent so he could reach a certain result. He didn't tell the truth. The rules of professional conduct for lawyers prohibit what he did, and the Code of Judicial Conduct requires judges to be fair and impartial. Yet Gabriel, in writing, affirmatively chose not to follow controlling Colorado law. Instead, he followed a 1920 federal case that had never before been cited in Colorado. He actually had to cut part of a sentence from a Colorado case out of his order so it would read like he wanted. He did this on his own. He wasn't duped into it by opposing counsel. So when it was announced that Gabriel was a nominee for the Supreme Court and comments were requested by Hickenlooper, I reported this to him, along with the proof. Yet Hickenlooper still appointed Gabriel.
The case Forsyth refers to is an opinion that the Court of Appeals determined not to publish. The opinion was written by Gabriel, who now sits on Colorado's Supreme Court. At the same time Gabriel was being appointed to the Supreme Court, a juror in Grand Junction was being sentenced to jail and a $10,000 fine for misrepresenting facts on a juror questionnaire. Her actions caused the judge in the case to order a new trial.
A juror from Grand Junction and Gabriel did the same thing. They didn't tell the truth in court. What did the juror get? A hefty fine and jail time. What did Gabriel get? A seat on the Supreme Court. I don't think the hypocrisy of Colorado's judicial branch has ever been more fully on display than that week in June of 2015.
The governor is currently accepting comments regarding the 3 judges nominated for a seat on our Supreme Court alongside Gabriel and other justices. The governor is not required by law to take comments, so there is no requirement that those comments be made public. But given Forsyth's letter to Hickenlooper in 2015, one has to wonder what's in the comments being provided to the governor.
Other states have much more transparent judicial systems. This is the 21st century. We need a completely transparent process for nominating, appointing, and disciplining judges. Colorado's system, it's completely dark. Gabriel, like other judges, is in a position of trust. He violated that trust. Colorado's system focuses on covering those actions up so he can do the same thing again. The system creates an improper culture and environment in our judicial branch. He'd get kicked out of a credible law school if he did what he did as a student. There's a difference between simply complaining about a ruling and complaining about judicial misconduct. And don't get me wrong, there are good judges out there, a lot of them, but there are also bad judges. And the system is protecting the bad judges. Everyone needs to listen more intently when someone says a judge didn't treat them fairly. We don't have a system that fosters truth and integrity in our judges. That's a problem.
Forsyth started the Judicial Integrity Project to advocate for the improvement of Colorado's judicial system. The nonpartisan nonprofit focuses on changing laws to remove conflicts of interest, increase transparency, and enhance accountability for judicial misconduct. You can find the Judicial Integrity Project on Facebook and at judicialintegrity.org. They also have an online petition that you can sign to support the efforts to improve Colorado's justice system.